Hello YouTubers, this is Adam Guy here from A Guy Studios and welcome to my video. This is sort of a video I've been waiting to do for a long time really. It's sort of a second part to basically how to fly the Airbus A320 Aerosoft for beginners. In this part obviously I'm going to be doing the landing. The first video that I'd done was sort of getting the plane set to take off and sort of climbing to cruise. So this video is more going to be about sort of getting the plane ready to land and showing you how obviously you would land this aircraft. At the moment I'm currently en route to my famous location of Paris, Prague, I believe it is, in France. Just having a look, we're not actually too far from descend, so it gives me a good opportunity here to show you how you do this. I'm currently sitting at cruise altitude. So obviously I haven't started no descending, seatbelt signs are off, so everyone's walking around enjoying themselves at the moment. So what I'm going to do is hopefully show you the process of how to land this aircraft and try and make it as easy as I can for you, because obviously this is for beginners, you know, so this isn't, you know, this is trying to make it easy, the best way I can. So at the moment I'm currently, like I said, just flying along at cruise altitude. I will be starting to descend now. Actually, you can probably hear
seatbelt signs.
Right, so seatbelt signs, so we get those on so people can start sitting down, which is this switch just up here.
Ice.
Off.
Landing information.
Received.
Altimeter.
Standard.
Aero radio.
Right, with barrel radio, can't quite remember which one it is, so I'm just going to use the checklist co-pilot to help on this one.
Set.
Checklist completed.
There we are. Right, so basically what that's done now is that's just got everyone ready on the plane to land, basically. Sort of, that's an easy sort of checklist. So basically, yeah, what I've done there, as you can see, is I've turned the seatbelt signs on, which is this little switch here. Obviously, on an aircraft, when you get to cruise altitude, the pilot will turn them off. That allows you to then walk around. And obviously, when you start descending, you're going to need everyone to be sat. So you would then turn the seatbelt signs on, as I've done. The barrel radio, I'm not quite sure what that was. So if you're not sure on anything, you can always hit skip, which I wouldn't recommend doing. Best one to do is down here on your second FMC. On here would just be to turn the co-pilot on, and then that'll do that then for you. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to get ready. I know that I need to get down to around 2,000 feet. For this, what I'm going to do is get ready. So set that, and then as soon as I see my aircraft here get pretty much on this line, I will initiate my descent, and I'll show you how you do that basically. So pretty much any sort of time now. So what I'm going to do by doing that is just come over to this nozzle and hit right click.
Initiating descent.
And there we go.
FMA check.
Radar tilt.
And then what I do is I turn this to this way.
Set below.
There we are. Right, so when it says radar tilt, right click on that, sorry, twice to turn it this way. And that'll do that for you. Obviously this is, like I say, a follow-on tutorial. I will put the link of the first tutorial in the description, so if you guys can watch that, and then you'll sort of get an idea on this. But obviously you can use this if you were looking to learn how to land this plane. That's the whole idea. If you're struggling, hopefully this gives you the idea of what you've got to do, and also it makes it a little bit easier for you really. So at the moment all we're doing is that we're letting the plane basically, well, land itself in theory. We're going to do an ILS landing. Obviously this was all set up at the beginning of the flight. What I'd done was, before I took off, I selected the runway I was going to be landing on, and also the star, I believe, as well, that I would be coming in from, because I've done this flight so many times I know what that is. But you obviously seen me set that up in the other video, so if any of you are wondering, like, well, how does the plane know where to go, that's because it was done earlier on. So as you can see here, what the plane's doing is it's descending obviously on its line, but what this basically, to give you a little description of what this is, basically the pink dot here is the altitude that the plane needs to be at to hit its set altitude basically by a certain time. So if this pink dot is too high, then that means, I believe, you're coming into, or you're too high, and if the dot is obviously down here, that means that you're coming in too low. Obviously this is all controlled by the plane and by the computers. Obviously on the left hand side, same sort of thing, which is speed markers. As obviously some of you know, when you get below 10,000 feet you can't exceed 250 knots, so obviously that's basically what that is, give or take, going to be set at, but obviously that will be explained as we land. So really at the moment all we're doing is just coming in on the approach. You know, there's not much more that we should be doing here, just making sure, you know, the aircraft is descending at a proper altitude. Obviously in a minute when we pass 10,000 feet I'm going to need to turn on some lights. As you can see, the dot is actually dropping, which is basically saying, I believe, no sorry, we're too high. Actually I got it the wrong way round. If the dot's up here we're too low, if the dot's down here we're too high. But basically what the plane is actually doing is, if you can see here, it's levelling off. It's saying I need more drag, but I'll be okay, it will sort itself out. But basically what it's saying is the plane's leveled itself off to try and reduce its speed, because it knows that it's coming up to 10,000 feet. It knows it can't be over 250 knots. So what the plane will do is it will level itself off basically to help reduce speed. It will ask you to sometimes put more drag, but you don't really need to. As long as you do your descent at a reasonable time, the plane should, you know, get itself down to the speeds. It's pretty good at that. But yeah, at the moment, you know, the whole thing really is it's flying itself. You know, once we get 10,000 feet, now we get lights on.
On.
There we are. So we have our lights on now. So basically this is obviously showing people near air towers, I believe, that we're descending. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an actual pilot, so I don't actually know what stuff exactly does. All I know is also I've sort of learned how to fly this plane and would like to share my knowledge with you guys. So yeah. Right, you can hear the air steward in the background there. So basically, yeah, you know, this part is unfortunately a little bit boring. There's not really much to it apart from letting the plane descend. Eventually, once the plane gets down to obviously a certain level, once it gets past, to 6,000 feet, we'll then switch our barra pressure over, I believe it is, back to normal, whichever it will be set down here. At the moment it's on standard. Also, what we will do soon is, once the plane starts slowing down enough, we'll have to obviously start deploying flaps, excuse me, and obviously getting stuff like that ready. But at the moment, you know, it's a nice little cruise in, you know, flying into France, and hopefully we can land this plane successfully in this video. I hope so. But at the moment, yeah, it's sort of decelerating, it's trying to drop, but obviously not trying to drop too quickly. Oh dear. So yeah, at the moment that's about it. What I'll do is flip through some lovely views in a minute to show you the aircraft descending. There she is. Lovely, and flying obviously British Airways. She's just dropping in lovely there. No, can't really see her on that view. There we are, cruising along. Coming in over France, dropping nice and slowly. And controlled, that's the main thing. So now we hit our detail points again, and we're still trying to slow down here, because believe it or not we are coming in a bit fast, but it's not a problem because we have to make quite a few big turns over the actual airport before we land, which obviously that will then help the aircraft decelerate itself as well. So pretty much now, what's it prompting me to do? So yeah, it's saying we're going to start our approach checklist very soon. That's going to be in 4 numeric miles, which basically means we're getting pretty low now. We're pretty much getting ready to start to land this aircraft. This is really where it all starts to happen. So in any minute now she'll call for that.
Transition altitude.
There we are. So we put that back, and it's and you can see here it's 1013. There we are.
1013. Checked.
If you guys don't know what this is, it's always on the bottom here. If you can see that, QNH. There we are. So right, so now we're really starting to come in. I don't know if I can show you here. You'll see we're going to fly around here, and then we fly over the airport, and then we do a loop back, and then we come back to land basically. I do apologise about my scenery as well. I
Approach
seem to have...
checklist.
Nope. Yeah, I seem to have a bit of trouble with Vorbex.
Checked.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Cabin signs.
Checked.
Nav accuracy.
Checked.
Bearer reference.
Checked. 1013.
1013. Checked. Checklist complete.
Right, so that's basically the approach checklist set. The plane's pretty much ready to land is what
Flight
that was.
attendants, prepare for landing.
There we are, so now we're called the flight attendant to be called, obviously as you heard there, to land. Still going a bit quick, but as soon as we start to hit our altitude, the plane obviously will then level off again, which will allow it once more to reduce speed. We won't be looking at putting any flaps or anything down yet, because we're still at quite a, I think we're still at around about 250 knots, 265 to really where we are going a bit too fast here, but it's not overly too bad. Yeah, we're just flying in lovely here. I think this is definitely the hardest part on of this aircraft is figuring out what to do, when to land it and stuff like that, and how to do it. That's why hopefully this video can help some of you guys out. It took me quite a while to learn as well, so it's obviously handy if I can try and teach you guys. Right, so obviously we are now starting to obviously bank round. Don't know if I can show you guys, but the airport is pretty much over this way, which we'll see that coming round soon. See, we're starting to drop speed again. Where is the airport? Airport is here, pretty much. This is the runway we're going to be landing on, along here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly over, and we're going to do a loop, which you can see here. And now we're dropping altitude. The aircraft's really starting to slow down now. You can hear, and you can see it here, and we'll start to get flaps and stuff like that coming out soon. So now we're starting our loop over.
2,500.
See, it doesn't look too bad, I guess, but it's not great. It's not the best.
2,500.
Flaps 1.
Right, flaps 1.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
This is the aircraft really starting to get down. So basically all you need to do is just follow what they tell you, really, and you can't go wrong. So obviously they've just asked me to go flaps 1, so I just popped down to my flaps and just slid this over to flaps 1. At the moment the aircraft is still controlling everything, and all I got it to do by initiating this was putting the altitude that it needs to be at, and then just left clicking, and from that's allowed the aircraft to basically maintain itself all the way through. So now we'll start to come in, really starting to get low now. Still
2,500.
just waiting for the calls now, really. And what I'm going to do, as soon as the aircraft starts to loop here, I'm going to basically initialise the glide slope. Basically what that... No, actually, let's turn that on. So basically this is the glide slope here. Sorry, should have turned that on earlier. I do apologise. LS, what that does is that basically shows your glide slopes and where you are on your runway. So obviously I've turned that on now so I can see this. And then as soon as the aircraft starts to turn, I'll then put lock, which what that will do is that will then start to lock the aircraft, which is what he's starting to do now. So we'll put lock, now we're going to start to drop the flaps again.
Check. Flaps 2.
Because obviously we're starting to really try and slow down. So I've got that locked already. So now from there we can now lock our approach. See if that locks. So glide slope is locked and approach is locked. So I'm pretty sure now, guys.
Gear down.
Let's Just the gear down.
Gear down.
And turn AP2 on,
Second
which is,
autopilot is on.
and what that is basically the second autopilot is the autopilot that lands the aircraft. So listen.
Flaps 3.
Speed check, flaps 3.
Really starting to get the.
Localizer
Flaps
alive.
4.
Speed check, flaps full.
So now our flaps are fully down. Our landing gear, we have 3 green, so our landing gear is on. What we'll do
Landing
now.
checklist.
Here we go.
Landing gear.
Down and locked, 3 greens.
Ground
This is-
spoilers.
So what we need to do now is come down to this and right click on that.
Set.
Auto brakes.
We'll set those on medium.
Medium.
Exterior lights.
Get our lights on.
Set.
Go around altitude.
Checked.
Landing memo.
Checked. No blue.
Checklist complete.
So here we are, guys. Now the aircraft is doing its final lineups.
Localizer captured.
So now the localizer captured, our glide slope is captured. So pretty much we are going to land this plane now. And that's pretty much it. So all you needed to do was make sure we turn this on just before we start doing our glide slope and localizers, but all that kind of stuff. Once we're happy that the aircraft is actually en route, we then hit the lock button. What that then does is allows the aircraft to then lock on to the glide slope and obviously where it needs to be in line with the runway. Once that then locks on, we can then come over and hit the approach button. What that then does is basically initializes with the aircraft with that and says to pretty much the aircraft, right, that's the line and the glide slope we want. What you then do is then hit AP2 and that then basically tells the plane, yeah, I'm happy with that, let's land. Obviously you have your other things like your auto brakes down here. We set them to medium. The runway is reasonably long on here, so we're not going to have to really try and slow down too quickly. Obviously our speed brakes and everything is all armed. Our flaps are fully down, and we are pretty much now waiting to land here. So we're coming in, as you can see her. It's coming in to land, lovely.
Approaching 14.
Got the calls now, so I really need to be watching this, not So here we go. It always gets a bit scary when it comes in because you're thinking, hang on, I've got no. I mean, I'm still not touching anything on my controls. You know, the plane is doing this all by itself. It is literally, you know, it's controlling its descent. It's controlling everything. Coming in a bit high here because of these trees. I think the old ground warning system is going to start screaming at me soon as well. Coming in, guys.
300 above.
So I'm still not doing anything, just letting the aircraft do everything. And then basically what we're going to do, as soon as the aircraft lands, back wheels go down
Continue.
and the front nose drops, we're going to cut the engines basically. So you pull the throttle all the way back.
60, 50, 40,
So as you can see, it's flaring.
20.
So it's flaring. As soon as you feel it flare,
Retard, retard,
wheels
retard,
down.
retard, retard.
now cut the engines,
Ground spoilers.
hit the brakes. Still only just trying to keep the aircraft in a straight line,
70
keeping
knots.
braking, 70, 60 knots. We're going to come off at the next junction. We're going to let it roll out now. We're at 20 knots, and there we are. We've landed. As the aircraft rolls out, you can release the brakes, retract your flaps if you want to. Get rid of that, because that's just obviously saying that all the autopilots have been turned off. And that I am in basically manual control of the aircraft, and that is it. That is how you land. Obviously now we'd taxi off to our gates. It was a bit of a long landing. I do feel I hit the runway a little bit long, but that was still fine. As you can see, it was all nice and smooth. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it helped. I tried to make it as simple as I could. I probably could have maybe done it a little bit simpler. Obviously, please feel free to leave all your comments and questions in the section below, comment section below. And obviously, please subscribe and like if you haven't already. So this is a second part video. Basically, I will tag the original video in as well, so you can see. Basically, it was me taking off from Gatwick, pretty much. But it shows how I sort of set the aircraft up, ready to fly. to actually getting to the point of being able to land another destination. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Obviously, like I said again, please comment, like and subscribe, and I look forward to making a few more of these videos. Obviously, I am looking forward to the new flight
After
simulator that's
landing
coming out from
checklist.
Dovetail.
Exterior lights.
What we'll do now is just got some after landing checklists. We've got interior lights. Need to get the brake fans on because my wheels are a bit hot. And then we get these lights on, so we get that down to that.
Set.
That can
Ground
come off.
spoilers.
Check retracted.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
Let's get the
Check
APU on.
retracted.
TCAS.
And then we need to put this back to normal.
Set off.
Brake temperature.
Brake fans on.
APU.
On.
Checklist complete.
So we've got the APU on, which basically what that means is that the aircraft will then be able to sustain itself. But basically that's it.
2-4. Approaching.
And we've landed.
2-4.
We're just now going to taxi up to the gate. I won't show you all this because there's no need to. But yeah, basically I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I hope you find it helpful. Please like, comment and subscribe. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you very much, guys, and take care. Goodbye.